Yo, it is good, yo. It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, we are going to be ranking the best overall cards in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. Now, this video is going to be coming out later on this week. So if there's any newer cards that aren't on this list, that is the reason why. Now, before we dive any further into ranking these cards, if you are new to my channel and have not yet, please consider smashing that subscribe button as we are on the road to 90,000 subscribers. Great start here with Allen Iverson. And quite honestly, guys, I don't think I'm going to move Allen Iverson. I'm going to move him into D tier. Now, listen, Allen Iverson is a card. He could change the game, okay? And if eventually he becomes an S or A tier card, I will look back at this and be like, dang, I was wrong. But my thought process is this. I do not think it is worth running a card as talented and as gifted as Allen Iverson is on the offensive end of the court. I don't feel like it's worth running him. And maybe I'll regret that, right? Because he is, you know, the best stat and badge card in 2K right now. Just he's 6 feet tall. Maybe I'll regret putting him in D tier. Not putting him in F tier because I don't think he's that bad. And I think he's a fun card to use. But unless you're playing clutch time, triple threat, which you might be, then Allen Iverson's a little better. If we're talking unlimited, I'm going to go D tier with the card. Andre Kirilenko, I'm going to plug into C tier right now. I put Andre Kirilenko on this list just because he is still one of the top defensive players in the game. And again, a guy we'll see later on in this video is Paul George. And some people honestly prefer AK2 PG-13. So it really comes down to preference with Andre Kirilenko. Offensively, might be a little more limited than PG. Whereas, I mean, he is 6'9". I don't mind his release at all. I'm pretty high on Andre Kirilenko compared to some other guys. Andrew Wiggins. Again, if we're talking about the best overall cards, I still think at the shooting guard position, you can make the case Andrew Wiggins is top 4 or 5. I mean, even with the new additions, the new cards that have came out, I still think Andrew Wiggins is up there for being one of the top shooting guards in the game. He's 6'8". It's a very good release. Jump shot 22, good 3-ball, really good dunker, great defensively. I mean, he has an 82 interior. He does some things that a lot of people won't talk about, like get you paint stops, and the fact that he's 6'8". I do think that, I mean, is enough to put him in C tier. Bill Russell, you're solid, but if we're talking about the best overall cards, I'm putting you in F tier. You guys can hate me. You guys can argue if you want. He's got set shot 17. He can't really dribble. He's lacking quite a few badges in here when we really get down to it. Defensively, he's going to be complete, but that's really it. And if you really want a good defensive player, I mean, Kevin Garnett, Giannis, there's better defenders than Bill Russell with a better jump shot. Just not super high on Bill Russell. I'm not super high on Carmelo Anthony anymore, but I mean, how many better cards in the game still are there than Melo? I mean, the dude has a ton of badges. Good stat-wise, defensively not great, but good enough. Shooting-wise, still pretty knocked down. Just comes down to whether you're still running Melo or not. I mean, if you are still running Carmelo and you're good with his release, he's one of the best shooters in all of 2K. I'm going to put him in B tier right now. We'll just see where things end up at the end of this video. Cliff Robinson, another one, is another tough card for me to rank. Because of how bad his release is, I do not think I can put him A tier or higher. I just don't. Set shot 3 is tough. That's a very tough release. I know he's got fundamental dribble style. Defensively, he's absolutely magnificent. Stat-wise, is literally perfect, almost flawless. But the problem lies with his release. Again, long, lengthy defender at that power forward center position. Just comes down to that set shot 3 release. I don't think I can put him higher than Carmelo. I just don't know if I can do that without really playing with Cliff Robinson quite a bit. Stat-wise, badge-wise, the dude's incredible. But when it comes down to set shot 3 and the game's on the line, are you granted with that? Or is he going to step in like Carmelo? I just know Carmelo Anthony's release is quite a bit better. Damian Lillard, another card. I mean, look, guys. Look, if you want me to hype up all these point guards that can score, that are one-trick ponies, you came to the wrong video. Damian Lillard, offensively speaking, is up there with Allen Iverson for being one of the best point guards in the game. But we also got to take into consideration he can't play a lick of defense. This Damian Lillard defensively is going to get absolutely fried, sizzled, toasted, whatever word you want to use, like a piece of bacon. I mean, I'm going to put both these cards in D tier. We're going to see a lot of point guards in D tier, honestly. And I'm just going to hop right into De'Aaron Fox being D tier. I think between these 3 cards, here's how it goes, okay? AI is the shortest, probably the most gifted offensively. Dame's the second shortest, probably the second gifted. De'Aaron Fox is the third shortest, probably the third least best offensively. But yet defensively is going to be a little bit better. Still has Hall of Fame quick first step, has quick dribble style. Like, De'Aaron Fox deserves to be in the same tier as these guys. I think De'Aaron Fox is the best point guard in D tier. You guys might not agree with me, and maybe looking back at this in a week or two, I will regret putting De'Aaron Fox in this tier. But you can't tell me his badges are bad. You can't tell me his stats are bad. It's really the eye test. And if you can't move with De'Aaron Fox, I mean, that's really the only thing holding him back. Dave Cowens is a card I'm putting in C tier. I know a lot of people are running Dave Cowens. And I personally think Dave Cowens probably is better than a guy like Bill Russell. But here's the problem with Dave Cowens, okay? You're looking at a card here with a total of 27 base badges. That's the problem with the card. Outside of that, there's nothing bad I can say about him. But because he only has 27 badges, you really have to pick and choose what you want to give him. If you want to make him a good shooter, then obviously playmaker-wise, you might not be able to really get that full extent with the quick first step. And it really comes down to no unstrippable. That's a big badge for a center. You know, no limitless takeoff. Shooting-wise, lacks a bit. He's a card I should probably try out, though. Because of his defense and these defensive badges, I think he's one of the most underrated cards in the game. I'm going to put him in C tier, but if you want to put him B or higher, I don't blame you. David Robinson, it's tough. I'm going to put him in S right now. We might move him around. For me right now, I think David Robinson is just overall the most complete center in the game. I believe that. Now, I like another center better than D-Rob probably, but that's just my personal opinion. I mean, most people are going to have more success with David Robinson compared to nearly any other center in 2K. That's just a fact. You give him limitless, you give him sniper. Defensively, he's pretty complete. You upgrade the vertical defensive rebounding, he's going to snag boards. Just the most complete center in the game. That's, again, my opinion. I think there's not a center who's 7-1 that can do what D-Rob can do. And it's crazy to think this card came out over a month and a half ago. That is crazy to me. Still at S tier. DeMarcus Cousins, it's a tough one. Because straight up right now at the center position, I don't know if I'm taking DeMarcus Cousins over Dave Cowens. I'm sorry. I just don't know if I am. Badge-wise, yes, DeMarcus Cousins has more total badges. He's a better shooter. Just defensively, he's not nearly as good as Cowens. I can't definitively tell you guys right now that Boogie Cousins is better than Dave Cowens. I can't do that. And until I can do that, I can't put Boogie Cousins any higher. I simply cannot do it for you guys. If you want to put DeMarcus Cousins in B tier or any higher, do what you guys got to do. Don't sleep on Dave Cowens for me, guys. I've started to gain a little bit of an appreciation for what Cowens is giving us. I'll put Boogie into B tier probably, but, I mean, it is close. I think these guys are pretty close right in here. Dolph, split the difference going into A tier. I believe that Dolph Schayes is a top 3 or 4 power forward in the game. I believe that. I know we're ranking the best cards, but he's a top 15, 20 card in the game. I still love his release. Got a great 3-ball. The only downfall to Dolph is the perimeter defense. He can even handle the ball. You can, give him any defensive badge in the game. Shooting-wise, literally is perfect. Dolph Schayes is one of those cards that made an impact on 2K nearly 2 months ago. And I hope we see a Dolph Schayes later on in 2K. He is that good. I want to see a Dolph Schayes later on in 2K because they juiced this card. Like, this drop that we got on October 29th was absolutely juiced. We got KD and Dolph in the same drop. And let's not forget about Andre Kirilenko. That content drop was absolutely crazy. But I'm going to put Dolph right in there at A tier. Draymond Green, joining Dolph right there. I know most of you guys probably are like, Ty, what? Draymond Green's not as good as Dolph. Okay. You don't think so? Tell me why. Because I think these cards are I think they're similar, but they're different in their own respects, right? Draymond's got the passing stats. Dolph has the post move stats. For me, those equal out. I don't use post moves. I don't really pass the ball or use passing vision, passing IQ. That doesn't matter. So then you look at the 3-ball. Basically the same speed, basically the same lateral quickness, basically the same. Draymond's better interior and perimeter defense. Dolph has, better shooting badges, better vertical. Really just depends on what you're looking at. Dolph's a little bit better rebounder. You can really pick and choose between these two. Draymond's going to have better defensive badges. Dolph's going to have better shooting badges. I don't know who I prefer. Honestly, Draymond's cheaper, so that's who I'm going to take straight up. But both these cards are absolutely magnificent. If you run either of these cards at power forward position, you are doing very, very well. Gary Payton, another S tier caliber card. I honestly, to this day, think Gary Payton is the most underrated card in all of 2K. You guys don't have to agree with me in that kind of take. I mean, if you don't agree with that, if you think Penny Hardaway Magic's better than him, that's cool. That is awesome. But what I don't want you guys to sit here and slander me for taking Gary Payton as my best point guard in the game. You want to know why he's my best point guard in the game? He's the most complete point guard in the game. Argue it. He's 6'4". He's got good enough interior, one of the best perimeter defense in all of 2K, has a better release than Penny, than Magic, shifty dribble style. He can create his own shot. All the playmaking badges in the world. The only thing is shooting-wise can't get limitless spot up. Outside of that, tell me what Gary Payton can't do. The dude is incredible. And you guys don't have to agree, but trust me, it's the truth. And you know who else is the truth? Is this Giannis Antetokounmpo card. On the defensive end of the court, he is the most feared dude on the court. Yes, the 3-ball isn't great, and we're going to see a Giannis eventually, probably in about a month, who is going to be way better than this Giannis just because of the 3-ball. But here's the thing. You guys better be lucky Giannis does not have Hall of Fame interceptor. And if you can get your hands on a Hall of Fame interceptor, Giannis, you are looking at the best defensive player by far in 2K. Player build, ridiculous. I mean, defensive stats, there's nothing below an 88. All around the best defensive player in 2K. I don't care what anybody else says. Moving on to Hakeem the Dream. I do think Hakeem is better than DeMarcus Cousins. Not as good as David Robinson. I'm going to slide him right into A tier. I think if you want to make the case Hakeem is better than D-Rob, do it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and spend time arguing with you. But if you do want to make that kind of argument, I want to know why you think that, okay? Because the cards are pretty similar. Obviously, badge-wise, again, pretty similar. The real only difference, Hakeem's going to be a little better rebounder, a little better ball handler. D-Rob's just got a better release. That's really the only difference. You can say the steal rating, but, I mean, they're basically pretty identical. I just think David Robinson's release does enough for me to put him that next tier up. Hakeem's release, if you can green it, isn't the worst. It's just of if you can green it consistently or not. Now, Jamal Crawford, I've used Jamal Crawford a couple of times. I actually got him on my No Money Spent squad. I just haven't really excelled with the card, and it's not right of me to say that because objectively Jamal Crawford is good. Just haven't been great with the card. I do think the Trey Burke base on normal timing is one of the most overrated releases in 2K. I don't think it's terrible, but I just don't think it's, unless it's on quick or faster, that it's a top release in the game. I said the same thing last year. Combine that with very bad defense in general, all he's going to do is be able to dribble incredibly and obviously be able to shoot a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sold on this Jamal Crawford yet. I'm going to put him at C tier. If you want to put him at B or A, I'm not arguing though. Really just not going to argue with that. James Harden, I'm going to put at A tier right now. These are probably like, what side? Like, we have all these top shooting guards in the game now. Is Harden still really A tier? I'm going to throw him in here. 6'5", 6'10" wingspan. Hotspots are outside of the right quarter. He's one of those guys you can just have on your squad, and he's smooth and steady. There's just really no flaws with James Harden. When he came out with Tracy McGrady, who let's just talk about right now as well, I was almost 100% convinced that Tracy McGrady was going to be the better player. Okay, I was almost 100% sure that it was like, okay, I need to get my hands on T-Mac. I ran James Harden in quals. He was one of my best players to run. And you look at the stats, I mean, they're pretty similar. Yes, T-Mac's a little bit taller, but badge-wise, I mean, you might give the advantage to James Harden. James Harden can dribble the ball a lot better. Release-wise, I mean, I think it's pretty similar. Again, I think the Trey Burke base on normal timing is really overrated. I don't know. I mean, wherever T-Mac is wherever Harden is. I think these two are both absolutely great shooting guards, and you will have success with either one of them. It's tough, though, because how do I not throw Jason Richardson right in there? I mean, quite honestly, guys, how do you not throw Jay Rich right in there? Now, a lot of you guys aren't going to get Jay Rich or don't have him yet, but if you don't think Jason Richardson is good, I want to know why. I mean, he's got 9 Hall of Famers, including catch and shoot, quick first step, all these finishing badges, 95 speed, 90 lateral quickness, great 3-ball, can handle the ball. I'm excited to get Jason Richardson, especially for current gen. I think he's going to be a better current gen player than next gen. Don't be surprised if on current gen, Jason Richardson's my best shooting guard in the game. Just don't be surprised. I know Kobe's over there. I know we got Clay. But I do think J. Rich has potential. Now, what hurts him is he doesn't have shifty or quick. Power dribble style is not great. I do love jump shot 31, though, especially if we're talking about current gen. Might have a lot of shooting guards rack up here at A tier, but that's fine. I'll live with it because it's hard to separate them. I mean, it's hard. How am I supposed to separate these guys? I'm going to move Andrew Wiggins a tier up because I don't think Andrew Wiggins is much worse than any of these guys at a tier at all. I don't think Andrew Wiggins is much worse than any of these guys. Jimmy Butler. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't put Jimmy Butler at S tier. He's another A tier player. If you want to make the case he's S tier, you can go ahead. What I'll say is he's offensively more limited than any other player at that A tier. Defensively, probably better than anybody. Just comes down to what you prefer. I think Jimmy Butler is better than T-Mac, and if there is one guy I'd move down, it's probably Tracy McGrady for this point. But some people prefer T-Mac to a guy like Jimmy Butler. So we're just going to list all these shooting guards here at the start of A tier, because I don't know who's the best. I mean, I want to know your guys' opinion. Out of these 4 cards, who are you taking? I don't necessarily know. It is super, super close in my opinion. John Wall, an A tier point guard. He is an A tier point guard. Again, we might have to balance this out if we get a lot of really A tier heavy. But the shooting guards are all, first of all, so close that I don't know how I'm going to separate these. I just don't know how I'm going to separate them. I might have to balance them out eventually. But John Wall, just in my opinion, is a step lower than Gary Payton. If you want to make the case John Wall is better than Gary Payton, you definitely can. I just think he's that step lower. I mean, Julius Erving's another just one of those shooting guards. He is just another one of these shooting guards. I mean, it's just so tough for me to say Julius Erving's better or worse than Jimmy Butler. Same thing with, all these guys at A tier. I mean, same thing with T-Mac, same thing for all these guys. Dr. J going to shoot the ball probably better than everybody else at A tier. Probably not going to defend as good. Probably not going to move as good as a guy like James Harden. Again, it's just so tough. What's not tough is his Kevin Durant card. Not a tough decision for me. Definitely an S tier player. Moments KD, mass KD, it doesn't matter. He is my favorite small forward in the game, and it's by a pretty wide margin, I'd say. I don't even know after KD who would come in number 2. If we're looking at small forwards in 2K, I want to know after KD where we're going, right? Maybe it's time in 2K that we just start playing some shooting guards at small forward. Maybe that's the meta, because outside of Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony, I mean, the small forward position is weak. So maybe it's time that I move some of these guys at shooting guard up to that S tier and just say, heck, they can play small forward, because the small forward position is literally so weak. KG, you're with D-Rob. There's going to be more than 5 players at S tier just because of the way it is. Wherever David Robinson is wherever KG is, in my opinion, on either gen. I can't separate the two. I'm glad that I have 2 centers in NBA 2K22 now, no matter what gen, that I can trust. I can put D-Rob out there. I can put KG out there. And there's not a guy I necessarily have a preference with. Now, game by game, it might switch. I might be really moving and grooving with D-Rob, and then he's a lot better than KG. Same thing last night. I was really hooping with KG and just kind of ran with him. But both these cards are just absolutely incredible. Kevin McHale, look, you're okay. Kevin McHale is okay. I am going to throw him in with Dave Cowens, though, because, yes, Kevin McHale has more total badges, but I don't think his defensive stats are nearly what Dave Cowens are. I mean, I just don't. And especially with the set shot 3, I just don't think I can put him higher than Dave Cowens on this list. The card I'm going to go into S tier with is Klay Thompson. He is a card that I think will forever be one of the top, not forever, but for a while, be one of the top shooting guards in my team. If you do want to play him at the 3, you can, because he is 6'6", hot spots from everywhere, can shoot, can play incredibly good defense. Yes, he's only got 4 Hall of Famers, but the Hall of Fame badges are really, really solid badges overall. Shifty dribble style, Klay Thompson's base on quick. Just a solid overall card in my team. And imagine me not putting Kobe Bryant right up here with Klay Thompson. I mean, imagine me not. Those two are both S tier shooting guards. I think Kobe Bryant is the best shooting guard in my team, and not only that, I think he's the best overall player in my team. I think by far, he is the most complete player in my team, and I don't even think it is close. This Kobe or the 75th anniversary is my best player in my team right now. Again, I don't think it's too close. Now we got a couple of guys that might surprise you. Larry Bird, I'm going to put probably in C tier. I mean, C or D, it's really your choice. Larry Bird does have the hidden interior defense, but ball handle rating, not great. Not very quick with the ball. Larry Bird release, which is kind of slow, especially if you're on next gen. Just not great. Just overall, not a great card. He's not horrible, right? If you can play with him in any type of a competitive setting and he's going to be fine. Just don't think he's quite as good as a guy like Carmelo Anthony. Magic Johnson up next is a card what I'm going to do is this. This is what I'm going to do. Because of how I want my point guards to go, I'm going to move John Wall down to B tier. Because of how I want my point guards to go. I'm also going to, I don't want to do this. I can't move anywhere else. I'm going to have John Wall at B tier though. If you don't like this, I'm sorry. Here's what I'll say. Magic Johnson has a dribble style that makes him the slowest full court dribbler in maybe my team. It is so slow. I'm maybe doing this to prove a point that Magic Johnson is not worth his price, and I'll just say that up front. Maybe I'm doing this to say Magic's not worth his price. He is not nearly a top 2 point guard in the game. Not even close, in my opinion. I don't care what play style you're running with, unless you're, on next gen and, want to just run 2-man with Magic Johnson all game. I can't see any other way he's higher than B tier. A card going into F tier is Manu Ginobili. Look, Manu is not as bad as I thought he would be, but still for this list, he's an F tier player. The dude literally, what more do I need to say? If you need anything, just go watch the Manu Ginobili gameplay. Just don't really think he's like that right now on my team. Michael Redd, here's what I'll say about Michael Redd. Now, this is a very, very tough thing to say. I think Michael Redd is a step below all my shooting guards at A tier. And that's a tough thing to say because a lot of people are going to disagree with it, but I want you guys to hear me out. He's 6'6" with a 6'9" wingspan, which is awesome. This base dribble style is something that I absolutely hate. I cannot stand base. If you have power, awesome. If you have slasher, awesome. Base dribble style is awful. I get it, defensively he's underrated, and shooting wise he's one of the best shooters in the game, but how important really is that? Unless you really play clutch time, I'm taking Dr. J definitely over Michael Redd, T-Mac, Jimmy, J. Rich, James Harden, all of them over Michael Redd. Kind of maybe biased with that, but B tier is good, guys. You got to remember, I'm comparing him to Andrew Wiggins, and you guys know how high I am on Andrew Wiggins. Paul George, I am going to go, this is a tough one. I'm going to go A tier with Paul George. I do think he is an A tier caliber small forward in my team. It's just tough because the small forward position overall isn't weak. Like, at his position, I guess he's better than all these guys, but these guys are just so tough at that shooting guard position. A lot of people like Paul George more than I do. I just think his release is mid. I mean, a lot is mid with Paul George. Paul George's dribble style is fine. I've just always been against and biased against Paul George. That's just what I'll say. He sold me in, I think it was 2K19, and ever since that, my relationship with Paul George has hindered. The guy I think that's better than Magic Johnson is Penny Hardaway. I said it during my gameplay that I don't know who's better between Penny and Magic. I'm here to tell you guys I like Penny Hardaway much more than Magic Johnson. He can actually dribble. I can actually move with Penny Hardaway on both gens. He doesn't jog up the court. I get it, his release isn't great. Still has a quick dribble style. I wish he had a quick chain or hyper drive, but still. The base Penny Hardaway I am taking over Magic Johnson. Again, this is my tier list. Pretty tough to separate some things. We're going to have to maybe balance some things out here, but it's where I'm at on him right now. Ray Allen, I just think is a worse Michael Redd. You guys might hate me for putting Ray Allen down here in C tier, but remember, these are the best cards in my team. He's 6'5". I have a hard time comparing him to Dr. J, comparing him to Michael Redd. I just can't do it. I do think Ray Allen just is that slight step below in the C tier. Remember, C tier is not bad. Like, I love Sam Jones with all my heart. I think Sam Jones is so much better than Manu Ginobili. He's 6'4", though. I can't, and just the fact that Sam Jones made this list is pretty incredible. But again, he's going D tier. D tier is not bad though, guys. I want you guys to know. Like, I'm decently high on Sam Jones. I'm running him on my No Money Spent squad series. But these are the best players in my team. Like Bill Russell, still on my No Money Spent squad. Steve Nash. I'm gonna throw Steve Nash in D tier. It's another one of those things where you guys might be like, what? Same tier as the Aaron Fox? How does that work? Well, here's what I'm gonna say. Steve Nash's dribble style isn't terrible, okay? It's really not bad, and I honestly think in clutch time or whatever else, Steve Nash is gonna be solid. But he's just not a point guard I'm high on, and I maybe I need to separate my point guards even more. But Point guards are a pretty top-heavy position. I said in my point guard video that, you know, it's basically a top 4 race, and I mean, it's the way it is. I mean, it is a top 4 race with these guys. Tim Duncan, last but not least, I gotta go C tier with Tim. I got to. I mean, I think he's on the level of C tier. I don't think he's quite as good as DeMarcus Cousins, as far as just, you know, the best overall cards in my team. So you guys might hate my D tier. You guys might absolutely hate it. But I'm sorry, it's the way it is. I guess my point guards are separated because Jamal Crawford, I think, is better than everybody here and not as good as John Wall, Magic Johnson, and then Penny Hardaway's at that next step. Same thing with shooting guards. I think I did kind of spread it out as well as I can. I want your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Is the tier list okay? Who are you guys higher on? Who are you guys not as high on as I am? Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.